me make sure that that's not, you don't hear an echo at all in the room, right? Making sure. Uh-huh.
And you were setting me up with Richard,
Uh-huh.
and then you emailed me on my personal one with Richard attached.
Did I?
It looked like it, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I really meant to grab your KW one.
It's no big deal.
I know, but I'll make sure that I at least let Richard know, like, hey, I know that I gave you the wrong email. I'm so sorry about that. I was going this morning, I was like, got both my emails. I don't understand why, like, I auto-filled with the one for your KW, and then I went to the next one, and I went to type in your name, and I guess it just gave me your first. Sorry. Yep. And then I'm like, oh, surprise, it's actually in a whole other location. I kept you on your toes though, so haha. I will make sure that I let Richard know. I did give him your KW email in like his spreadsheet of who he's got in his group, but I'll make sure that he knows like, hey, I know I may or may not have introduced you to him through a personal email, but you're actually going to use the KW moving forward because that was my bad. But without further ado, we will go ahead and jump into KWB resources. And that's just our office website. I know you and I looked at that on Monday together. So we're just going to take a little bit of time to look at additional information on this website. The first is actually just going to be this new agent button here that I'm going to select. I'm going to pull this shut just a little bit more because they're a little noisy. That's okay. I like that they're having fun. Once you're in the new agent section, this is really just keeping some of that immediately relevant information in front of you as a new agent to the office, even though you're not necessarily new to real estate. So on the left-hand side, you'll see under getting started, you can click learn more. And it's actually going to give you a PDF checklist, like breakdown of what the onboarding process looks like. And that way you have an overview of what to expect through that time. Thankfully, you've actually already completed your onboarding. So you have gotten through all of this initial paperwork. The only thing I would mention at this point in time for you specifically is some of the things you can do immediately that are listed at the bottom here. One of which is we're going to explore the website together. Also looking at the office calendar, which I know that we did already, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it today. Joining Ignite, which is up to you. Again, I know you're specifically a seasoned agent, so it's up to you on whether or not you'd like to plug into Ignite. It is a training program that offers a strong foundation to the business and is actually intended to be geared for agents that are averaging fewer than 16 transactions a year. So it's entirely up to you. And sometimes we see that some seasoned agents don't necessarily want to sit through the entirety of the program. They just might want to come in for one specific class if it's a focal point on something that they want to get stronger at. So if there's the social media class, for example, and you're like, yep, nope, that's not my thing. If you wanted to sit through the social media class, that could be very helpful. You don't have to commit to all 20 sessions in that point. But that could be a helpful kind of balance and blend to get you started if you're interested. We'll also take a look at some Facebook pages I recommend joining and then attending office meetings. Obviously, you're already doing that, so this is perfect. I will close out of this wonderful checklist and get us right back over here to the home page or to the new agent page. On the right hand side, under this basic training section, under learn more, you'll find that this will take us to our Scott Leroy marketing website. So Scott Leroy obviously helped to create all of your KW technology. So you've already been in contact with them and they've already gotten you squared away. But there's several different things that they can still do to assist you moving forward as a resource. So Scott Leroy Marketing's team does wonderful things with the KW technology. They can continue to help you with troubleshooting and even exercising different processes on the back end. I think you actually were communicating with them about uploading contacts, right? I was like, I think I saw that. I was like, I love that he's already making it happen. So when we're looking at their website, just a couple things I'd like to mention to you guys. The search bar obviously is right there to make it very easy to find different content on this page. I always point out that if you've never made a QR code for yourself or for your business and you're interested in using those for print marketing, you can search something as simple as QR code and then fill out a couple questions in that QR code form, and then they will be able to generate one for you and send it back to you within an hour. So that's always very exciting. Hi. Oh, you're fine. So you'll be able to use the search bar to get a QR code generated. There's several other things you can also find. That's just one I always like to point out. The next piece I share on this website is actually going to be under agent resources up top here. If you select this button, it did used to be a drop down menu. It's now a button first. It will ask you to type in our market center number, which is going to be 350. When you've entered in 350, you'll notice that at the top, this now becomes that drop-down menu. They just want to confirm our partnership with them before I guess they let us access all their really good stuff. So under agent resources, you will find, and what I specifically am pointing out today is their training calendar. So under training, you can actually access training calendar. So again, if you're interested in kind of plugging in and really using that technology effectively and efficiently, Scott Leroy Marketing will also offer some additional trainings to help you get there. When you scroll down, you can actually see their live Google Calendar, and you can see specifically what their focal point for that particular day will be. But they are offering live tech trainings from 1 to 2 o'clock Monday through Friday. So yes, we do have some that are available to you in person in this office, and that's on Tuesdays and on Thursdays from Jules and Leah. But if you would like to kind of supplement and blend the two together, sometimes they may be talking about a topic that Jules and Leah either just spoke about, but maybe not speaking about for another week or two. So it can be a helpful blend depending on what you're specifically looking for. The other really neat thing is that we also know that, again, real estate looks different for everybody in terms of scheduling. So if you are busy on any one of those days that something's offered in the office, and you just can't quite make those Tuesdays work for any particular reason, then you could always come back to Scott Leroy Marketing's channel and you could see when their live trainings are and potentially lean into those a little bit more than the Jules and Leah side of things if necessary. So we like to give you guys, again, just a really good span of resources to utilize depending on what your particular real estate business looks like. So that is something I always point out. Please do plug in as often as you'd like. It's as simple as clicking on that event and the link comes right up, but it allows you another opportunity to participate live in trainings. The other piece that I will mention today is the store option. So store, if you click on that option up top, will take you to agentstore.com. This is a resource that you guys can use, an outlet that you can go through to produce your business cards, order your name tags. They've got a ton of other great stuff too that I recently explored, like you can get tablecloths and things like that, just to really jazz up and get the swag going for your business, which is very exciting. But business cards usually is the more immediate ask that I get from agents when joining the office, because again, even if you obviously were at a previous firm, you'll now need to update those business cards again. Unfortunately, we do not offer them as part of your onboarding process, but we do make sure you're connected with some great resources to get a great price. So if you order your business cards through agentstore.com, they've got pre-done templates, so it's incredibly easy to just plug in your own information and then place the order for those business cards. And a lot of that design is already going to be good to go. If you're obviously provisional broker, which I don't believe you are anymore, provisional brokers, they have to go that extra step and they have to speak with Tasha Viney, our BIC associate, make sure the design is approved, but you have a little bit more freedom. So you kind of get to just order away, which is wonderful. I do always recommend, if you've got questions, though, do consult with Tasha. She's wonderful to work with. But business cards would be an easy thing to order just through agentstore.com. Again, you're not limited to Agent Store. So if you'd prefer to be a little more creative and really emphasize your own brand by going through Vistaprint or Canva and doing something very unique and custom to the business, you absolutely can. This is just an easy resource because I know not everybody really loves to dive into their creative side. Some people just want to order the cards. So I will let you know that Agent Store is going to be a great resource. I know for me, it was only like $39, I think, to order them myself. So, yay, good. I was like, I know I already shared a lot of this information with you, so I'm glad that you were able to get them ordered. Hopefully they will be arriving soon so you can start giving them to everybody at Christmas time, right? Oh, there you go. You can start spreading them all out over Michigan. Underneath there, we do have our little list of Facebook pages that we recommend. The top is an internal Facebook page. It's just our agents and our leadership team. This is one I would have shared with you via email. And it's a great way for you to get connected with the other agents in this office. Well, yes, we've got a lot going out in the hub today. Obviously, not all 500 of us are standing in the hub right now. So we want to make sure you guys can communicate with each other effectively. The other thing here as well is that your leadership team is part of this page in addition. So we are in there constantly talking about the upcoming trainings and events that are being offered so that you can stay up to date and easily just read through the description that I include, and then you can sign right up by clicking on the link in that Facebook post. So it's just another way to be connected to what's going on in Ballantyne, but more importantly, to build those relationships with the other agents in the office, because we truly deeply are a very collaborative office. If you were to post anything about, hey, I'm looking for a referral agent, anybody knows somebody up in Hartford, Connecticut, people will screenshot contacts out of their phone and drop them in the comments just to make it really easy for you to connect. In addition to that, if you're looking for vendors that may be out in China Grove, but your usual guy doesn't go that far, you can ask the same questions. People are so quick to offer those opportunities and give you those connections. The great thing too is that you will have tons of opportunity if you're interested in holding open houses at all at this point, even for others. If that's a lead gen resource for you that people will ask all the time, hey, I need a host for an open house. If you guys are looking for showing coverage, if you need help with getting a showing covered, you can ask that as well in there. So it's a really great way just to get multiple eyes on what's going on and get some help from other agents in this office. Below that is going to be similar in concept, another internal Facebook page. It will be our agents, our leadership team, and our vendors. Here at KW Ballantyne, we do have a preferred vendor program. And what that means is that we have a multitude of vendors that have actually been vetted by other KW Ballantyne agents, and they have desired to join our vendor program so that they can be in front of you guys and talking to you guys all the time, building those relationships with you and talking to you more about what their products and services are. Obviously, you are not required to use the vendors that are in that program. It is still up to you. But if you are ever looking for someone that offers quality products and services, know that these individuals have already been given the green light from other agents in the office. So it's easy that you can lean in on them and trust their work and quality of work. On that Facebook group, you will be able to see all these vendors introducing themselves. They are talking about the promotions that they may be running, new products, new services that they are newly available for you guys. You can see in general just what they are up to. And then my other favorite feature is just as with Facebook, there's always a magnifying glass in the upper right. You can search the page for plumber or for electrician. Anybody that does that service then will populate within that Facebook group just to make your search a little bit easier. If you're not immediately seeing an electrician in the first like 3 scrolls, then it's like, all right, cool. I don't really want to keep doing all that. So let me just see what's available. And so that's a great page to be part of because, again, it allows you the opportunity to connect with our vendors very intimately as well and just be aware of what's going on with them. Underneath that, we do have access to the Charlotte Area Realtor Network. So if you're not already a part of that page, you may want to get connected with some other realtors in Charlotte. And beneath that, as our final, is going to be the KW Carolinas region. This is going to allow you to connect with other Keller Williams agents in both North and South Carolina, no matter what market center they're with. So this is a great way even for you to start building a referral network if you're interested, especially if you know some buddies of yours are moving out to the beach anytime soon. It might not be a bad idea to start building those relationships. The other cool thing is that the region, Carolinas region, also offers trainings on top of what our own market center does. So there's going to be ample opportunity for you even to travel to Wilmington if you'd like to for a 2-day mastermind event. So you'll have tons of great ways to get connected with other agents in the area and hear some of what the top producers in this entire state are up to. So great tool there and a great way to stay on top of what's happening in the region. Below, we do have access to Kellerisms. I always will tell you I'm not going to click on it just because it's something you can actually explore later. Essentially, it's going to be another PDF breakdown, but it's explaining all the terminology you're hearing in Keller Williams. You're not new to real estate, so I know several of these terms are going to be familiar. I know you know what capping refers to. There might be some terms, though, that you're going to hear in the hallways and be like, yeah, no, literally could not tell you what that's supposed to mean, like a 411. Sounds like something you'd know, but it might not be. 145s, that's another one where it's like, that gives me actually no idea what that product is. So if you're ever wondering what those entail or a little bit more information, and maybe you were just not able to ask a leadership team member or another agent because you are finding this in your own reading at home, Kellerisms will break down all that terminology and turn it into real world terms. Like a true dictionary, it makes sense of everything that you're hearing in the hallways. So if there's ever something that you're not sure of, you are welcome to refer to the Kellerisms sheet, or you can always ask a member of leadership. We're happy to help. A little bit further down, referring to your KW technology, answers.kw.com is going to be a resource that you and I actually already spoke about. It's going to be the website of frequently asked questions about the KW technology. So in addition to answers.kw.com, there's also ideas.kw.com, and that's actually strictly just for your feedback. So because you have been with another firm, it's actually going to be extremely vital that they get kind of your input on how command functions. Because if you're like, yep, this is great, love this feature, but there was something way more efficient about how my old CRM was that I would love to see implemented, they're looking for that kind of feedback because they want to make sure that command is the best tool for our real estate agents. So if you are coming across any pieces of feedback like that, or even just saying, hey, I love this feature, it doesn't even have to be necessarily constructive criticism, you can share that to ideas.kw.com. And they are constantly reading through the suggestions and the feedback they've received to make sure that they are implementing and making Command the best possible platform for you guys. So who knows, if you provide feedback, you might even see that launched into the next update. There's access to download Ignite materials. If you are interested in taking Ignite at any point in time, all you have to do is shoot me an email. I can make it easier. I can send them to you, or you can download them off the page here. A little bit further, obviously, we do come across our training calendar, but we've looked at that already briefly together, and I will show you a much more convenient way to access this information through this web page. And then the final thing down here is going to be referring to scheduling conference rooms. So in KW Ballantyne's office, we have 5 different conference rooms that are available for your use. We also have what's known as 2 focus rooms. Our conference rooms are going to be exactly that. They're meant more for collaborative efforts involving more than one person. So if you're looking for an environment where you can privately meet with clients, coaches, other agents in the office, and you just would love to have the closed door for privacy or for quiet, understand. We're a very energetic office, so occasionally it can get a little noisy. And in that case, we definitely want to make sure you are not disturbed. So if you would prefer to have a conference room of the 5 we offer, there are some that are 4-person conference rooms. We've got some, I think we've got a 6-person and then 2 8-person conference rooms. So depending on who you are meeting with, what size that group is, it may make more sense to reserve one room over the other. But when you go to reserve the room, all you have to do is hit that register button. It'll take you to a website called sketa.com, and that will open up. You create your own login real quick, and then you can open it up, and you'll see at the top of the spreadsheet that opens, it'll list the names of all the conference rooms, and then to the right of the name will be the capacity it holds. And then down the left-hand side, you're going to see all the time slots throughout the day, and you can literally see where everyone's got their reservation and just drag and drop your own. So it makes it really easy. The focus room's very similar conceptually to a conference room for privacy purposes and just for having peace and quiet. But those are going to be independent workspaces. So we know that sometimes too, I don't know for you specifically, but Emilio, if you like to cold call and you don't love that other people can hear your end of the conversation while cold calling because it just feels awkward for any reason, focus rooms might be the perfect place to go. If you're really just looking to lead generate in general and you're like me and you get distracted really easily, a quiet spot might be nice for you. So if that's ever something you're interested in, the 2 focus rooms are actually just out this back door here. And they're literally just one desk offices. One even has a window so you can get the window view. But it's going to be a great environment for you to use if you're looking for private, quiet workspace for yourself. So between the 2, hopefully that gives you a ton of resources to utilize in this office alone. It is free for you to use either room anytime. We just ask that you keep those reservations to about 2 hours or less in a day. And that way we can just guarantee better that those resources are on rotation for other agents. If you ever have any difficulty booking one of those rooms, I am an admin on the page, so just email me and I can go in on the back end and assist you. But that's everything we usually talk about on this page here. Actually, before I click back to the home page, for your convenience, this obviously required us to click into the new agent section, then dig, 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 dig. If you just go under more, you'll see schedule a conference room right in this drop down menu. So that's probably the fastest way to get there. But now we'll go back home real quick and we are back to that wonderful home page. As we scroll down, you're going to see a staff directory that looks very similar to what's in your new agent packet. So ideally, this is just reiterating who each of us are, what our roles are on leadership, and then also how you can contact us. So that makes it very easy for you to get in touch with any one of us about any particular thing. And I will never be able to look at this in this room and not get mad that things look like they're like 1 inch to the right. It drives me crazy. It's something about Wix.com. I don't know if it's just the way we have it set up, but it's based off your monitor size. is why it shifts things, because on my monitor in my office, it looks perfect. And then I come in here and I look like I'm blind. So I'm like, okay, I swear I would never do that on purpose. I swear. But I can never not acknowledge it because I'm like, somewhere in the room, someone's thinking to themselves, like, wow, that could look different. So I gotta say something. Underneath all of our wonderful faces, you will come across two helpful videos that our tech coordinators have included on this page and to stay permanently for your review anytime. We know that with your KW technology, especially no matter what, whether you are new to real estate or not, you guys are going to be working with some of this for the first time. And we want to make sure that you have ample understanding of how to use it. So, two very important things with command. The first is making sure your command is properly linked with your DocuSign account, because it's really a neat feature in command that when you're in this opportunity you've created, you can hit go to transaction and it pulls over to your DocuSign room. You can actually get all those contracts and forms and just directly upload them. They are designed to integrate very seamlessly, but there is an additional step you will need to take to make sure that they're integrated correctly. So this video on the bottom here will explain everything you need to know about how to get them connected so that when you're working with your first buyer, your first seller, everything's already functioning the way it should and you've got one less thing to worry about. So Leah has given you a quick video on exactly how the two platforms integrate together, how they communicate, and how you can manipulate within that. Above that, she's also included a second video, and this is about how to submit commission requests in Command. This actually was something they updated recently in the system, which is why we've given this announcement and permanent video to walk people through how to use it, just because it's still a little new even to our agents who've been here. But when you guys do go under contract on any piece of property, you'll want to make sure you're submitting a commission request alongside that. It lets our MCA know that you guys are expecting a closing to be coming up. You're expecting a commission check as well, and that way Lynn can make sure that she's prepared to receive that commission check. Really what that means is that as soon as you got your check in hand, after you've submitted the commission request, she's been able to make sure everything looks good on her side to receive that check. And assuming that all your documents have been approved by our compliance coordinator, as soon as you've got that closing check in hand, assume if you picked it up, otherwise if you mail it or if you wire it, she'll be able to go ahead and process that right away and it goes into your account in the next business day. So as long as everything is straightforward and straightened out, you've got that commission request in, Lynn can easily arrange that payment for you. A little bit further, we do arrive at our office training calendar, which I know the two of us looked at. As a reminder, though, you can click here for a full calendar view. It will make this a much more easily read piece of information. You can see it on a full scope here. You can click on any one of these particular events and get a full description of what to expect. It will tell you whether it's in person or Zoom. It will tell you whether it is registration required or not. If you do have to register, the link is always in there. If it's a Zoom option and you are looking for that Zoom link, it can also always be found in the description. So we like to make sure that you guys know this is meant to be a one-stop shop, but of course questions do come up. So if there's ever anything you're curious to learn more about, all you have to do is reach out to me via email, call me, or stop by my office. I'll give you all the information I have. But because I know we wind down during the holidays and those are truly right around the corner, you can actually just fast forward into January and start taking a peek at what's on the calendar there and hopefully join us for some of those events. We've got some cool stuff that's going to be coming up. And then I know we talked about it already. If you would prefer to, this Add Google Calendar button is incredibly helpful. It will copy everything directly over for you into your Google Suite. So you have one less thing to check on through KWB resources. As we scroll down, we are just talking, just below there, we're talking about some of the recurring meetings you'll notice on our calendars. We have ALC meetings every single third Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. On the second and fourth Tuesdays, we're doing our exciting high energy team meetings, and then we're doing Tech Tuesdays every Tuesday from 1 to 2:30. So that's just highlighting some of that, providing you a little bit more information. The team meetings are tons of fun because it really kind of covers everything KWB at a glance, gives you guys important updates about what's going on, whether it's training opportunities, updates from our BIC associate, updates from our tech coordinators. We are also highlighting our ALC members and getting their updates as well. So there's really a good scope of information that's offered in terms of what to expect in the next couple weeks. And we love to give you guys that because we also just try to make team meetings fun. It's fun. We bring in our vendor partners and we have them out in the hub area so you can get connected with them and mingle with them, build those relationships. So we do try to make it a very high energy and full room in here. And occasionally, Teresa has been known to roll in on quite literally roller skates with a cape for these meetings. So it really is like a room you just kind of have to be in. You have to see it to believe it. And then on the left-hand side, the ALC meetings are going to be that same Agent Leadership Council that I briefly mentioned. Agent Leadership Council, these are agents in our office who've dedicated a little bit more of their time on top of their businesses to help represent different committees at Ballantine and make sure that we are moving in the right direction, making sure that Ballantine is the best place to call home, that we are growing, that we are profitable, and they're here to make sure that your businesses are successful as well. So the ALC is going to be meeting on the third Tuesday at 11 a.m. collectively, and they get to have conversations about what's going on in Ballantine. They get to make votes and take votes on what to do moving forward at Ballantine. In the past, when we have reduced our cap, that was something that we consulted the ALC for because we don't like making any decisions unilaterally. We want to make sure that they're reflective of your opinions as agents. So we, of course, turn it over to our agent council and ask them what they think. So that is going to be a great meeting to be part of, just to observe even. And you can hear they're having these high-level masterminds about what's going on in their businesses as well. So it can be a wonderful opportunity to hear some great information. As we continue to scroll down, you do come across our BIC and our BIC associate. Our wonderful Miss Sabra is our BIC. She is actually, unfortunately, just not in the office a ton. Her mother is 101 years old. So I know, is that not incredible? Her mother's 101, and so she is actually usually at home tending to her mother and hanging out with her. She's still very much so available by phone and email if you need to reach out to her, but that's just somebody you may not see as frequently in the office, which is why our wonderful Miss Tasha, equally available, also has 3 days a week that she's in office, and her office hours are listed there. That way, it's very easy for you guys to get connected with either one of these wonderful ladies. Know that Tasha is just as knowledgeable as Sabra and can handle just about anything you bring her way. If there's ever anything she needs to refer back to Sabra for, she absolutely will. I always do tell you guys, though, when it comes to anything like legal and hair on fire, go straight to your BIC, but I know that's no surprise to you. And then underneath that, again, you're not a stranger to real estate, but if there's ever any kind of hesitancy of like, ooh, did I get all the CE I needed done before June 10th? Let me just double check that. There's some information there to help make sure you're on track for that renewal process. If we scroll down, you'll come across who our wonderful ALC members are. Above that, it will tell you the committees that they're working or that they're serving right now. The growth committee is focusing entirely on helping you guys to build your downlines through passive income and profit share. Then we also have our Career Development Committee. They are focusing on the trainings that are coming up in the office. They're helping to bring up some wonderful suggestions and make sure that our calendar is full of diverse content that's all of value to you as agents with your businesses. And then we also have our KW Cares and Social Committee. The Social Committee is focusing on the parties and fun special events that we're planning. So everyone loves Social Committee. And then KW Cares is coupled with that. They are the charitable arm of our office. So we have a local KW Cares fund that people will donate to, so that in the event that our agents are ever in need, we have resources that are available to help support them. And then below, we do come across our wonderful productivity coaches. So our productivity coaches, this is going to be a little bit more for our independent agents. And because it's just you and I will try and tailor this a little bit more for you. Our coaches is going to be a little bit more for our brand new agents. So you are actually not being auto-enrolled into the coaching program. Anyone who is, of course, can always email me and check in to see who their coach is if they don't have that handy. But we do also offer something called Summit Coaching. It's a higher level coaching that's available to you through this office. So if you ever have interest in learning more about Summit Coaching, since you are at that higher level, you can reach out to Michelle Amador. She's going to be on the top of this homepage here, also in that packet that I gave you. You're welcome to discuss what that could look like for your business with her if you have any interest at all. But that is going to be a great resource, again, just to have, because if nothing else, accountability goes a long way. Below, we do have transaction group partners. I know you and I talked about that earlier. So your transaction group partner is your contracts informed expert in this office. They are here to make sure that you guys know exactly what you need to when it comes to the contracts and forms. And especially with all the changes as of late, they're making sure you're getting those updates and how to complete that new change in real time. So they are here meeting with their groups every single week and supporting you guys, taking any questions. Again, just another resource you can refer to for those questions. So I I did get you assigned, obviously, to Richard this morning as a North Carolina transaction partner. I know your South Carolina license as well. We do have a South Carolina transaction partner. She's actually decided she had some health issues at the beginning of the year. She's decided she's going to step down and turn in that hat for the end of this year. So we are getting a new South Carolina partner that's going to be taking her place for the start of the year. We just have yet to kind of solidify who that will be and what time they want to meet. But as soon as I've got that underway, I will communicate it to you in case you'd like to be connected with them as well. And then at the bottom, just some helpful resources and frequently used websites. So some great information there, but much more conveniently located at the top. So we're not even going to look at them down there. We're going to move right along. And I always joke that you guys probably, anybody who's ever sat through this class is probably like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get through this whole thing when she just spent half the class on the first page? It goes faster, I promise. So FAQs here, when we look at this screen, what it is going to do is it's going to allow you to hover over some general questions and just kind of grouped ideas that if you hover over, it's going to tell you who on leadership team handles that responsibility. So again, understanding that Keller Williams, although I was born and raised here, so to speak, I do not know what other terminology for different team members are outside of this, outside of these walls. You might not know what a market center administrator is, and that's okay. You might not know what a director of productivity does, and that's okay. In which case, we want to make sure you guys have the most clarity on where to go for specific questions. This can ideally give you a better feel for who does what on this particular team. Of course, though, we know that not everything could be encapsulated in 10 tiles. So if you ever have a question that is not listed here or just a little bit tangential or obscure compared to what is listed, always come back to me. I'll make sure it gets to the right person. And then up at the top, I'll skip the About tab to make sure we go a little bit faster. Up at the top, On-Demand Training. If you select On-Demand Training, it is going to be a password-protected tab. So the password for this tab, if you actually, you're in a really good position because we happen to have the Wi-Fi over there. It's literally the Wi-Fi password with no exclamation point will be the password on this web page. So it's capital B, lowercase AMC 350. And then if you hit enter, that will take you in. So it's just like the Wi-Fi password, missing that final exclamation point. So when we are under on-demand training, I love sharing this with you guys because I think, again, if anyone has a slightly more complex schedule based off of other things that they juggle, or even just because, hey, like I like to travel, and that just means that when I have my toes in the sand, my toes are actually in the sand. Like I'm not plugging in, and that's okay. We want to make sure that you guys obviously have a really good work-life blend, and we want to have you living that life by design. So when it comes to on-demand training, I like to share this, again, depending on where you fall on that spectrum. On the left-hand side, if we click on demand, this will actually take you to a Keller Williams Valentine YouTube channel. So the reason that we have this is, again, depending on your schedules or depending on if you truly are just traveling, maybe you're out sick and that's okay. You're allowed to be sick. We want to make sure you're taking care of yourself first. But what we have here is we have recordings of a lot of these recurring meetings that get uploaded here. So team meetings, obviously every single team meeting, we're talking about different content because things are always changing in the market center. So it's always something new that you can hear. We have those meetings twice a month. So if there's ever a time that, yep, you were traveling, or maybe no, I just wasn't feeling well that day, I couldn't even quite make it to sit on that Zoom live, that's okay. We don't want you to miss that information. And if it's something you regret not being able to be part of, we definitely want to make sure you still have access to it. So you can visit this YouTube channel and you can find those recordings. So I always like to mention this, of course, is not every training that we are offering because we do really sincerely value having you guys live participating for those, whether it is in person or online. It makes a big difference to be able to ask your questions in real time. So when it comes to this, these are going to be those recurring meetings. You can actually see the created playlist at the bottom section here. It's going to tell you what each of those meetings are. Nothing really outside of those style meetings gets uploaded here. So again, it's not everything, but it will be a good chunk of some of those recurring meetings in case you'd like to see the most up-to-date information. And then when it comes to the recordings that you see published on this page, YouTube, as with the wonderful things about technology, will occasionally tell me that it doesn't like my recording. It will reject it and I'm not allowed to post it. That doesn't mean I don't have the recording though. So in the event that you are looking for a Tech Tuesday, for example, maybe Jules and Leah just did DocuSign. Hey, I just want a little bit more information on this one feature in DocuSign. I know they talked about it. Could I go review that recording. When you come on this page, it's not there. So you always reach out to me because YouTube sometimes just says like, absolutely not. I don't want you to publish that video. I still have it and I will still send it to you personally. It's just not going to be readily available the way I'd like it to be. And I will tell you, just as a general rule of thumb, Tech Tuesdays are ones that they always love to reject. They will always tell me because Jules and Leah like to make fake contacts to show you how to do things. And then they think we're giving out sensitive information. And I'm like, it's a fake person. It's not even a real person, though. So, in that event, always reach out to me, but that hopefully will help you to stay up to date on information, even while you are away for the holidays, if you insist. Although I will say things will be a little quiet around here as well. And then on the right-hand side here, Command on Demand. This is a resource you have already seen with me, but if you click on that on demand button, this will take you to Scott Leroy Marketing's YouTube channel. So again, just reiterating, we know that sometimes schedules can be complex and sometimes life truly happens. And we do not want you to feel like you are torn between where you need to be giving 100%. In that event, of course, we want to make sure you have access to all the resources you need to succeed. The other really cool thing I always mention too with Scott Leroy Marketing is it's quite literally called on-demand training because it's on demand. If I'm looking to do a Facebook ad and I've never done it before, and Jules and Leah just they don't have that on their schedule anytime soon, I know I could book the one-on-one with them, but let me just see if there's something I can fiddle with in the meantime and then go to them if I need more hands-on support. You can always find information on the Scott Leroy Marketing channel about tons related to your KW technology. So there very well may be a video already out here that can help you out. And then if you want that further assistance or one-on-one support, you can consult with Jules and Leah then. And then Jules and Leah, again, just kind of put those same videos we referred to earlier about being super critical for understanding the basic steps that you're going to need to get paid really with Command. They've got them on this page as well, but you have already seen this information. And then there's just a little bit more info on Ignite as well here. So just keep that in mind if you're curious and learning more, but you should have gotten an email from me about more info related to Ignite, and it will be very similar to this. So you can also refer to it in your email. On the next tab here, Office Resources, I always pause and I hover over this for you because these top 3 menu items, personally, I just think are significantly easier to grab from the drop-down menu than if we're inside of the tab. So the first is going to be advertising guidelines. Again, I know you are broker status, so you do not have the same restrictions on what you can and cannot do with your marketing. But if you do need to kind of get a general feel or you've got some questions, always refer back to the advertising guidelines. There will be some specific mentions of yes, this is okay, and yes, no, this is not. The other cool thing is when you go to advertising guidelines, you can find logo files as well for KW Ballantyne. So if you were looking to get our logo onto a sign or onto a business card or anything like that, there are some logo files available there. Below that is concession request. If you ever need to get a concession letter for your particular transaction, we know that that happens. We've tried to streamline this process, and we've actually, by clicking on that, it will take you to a Google form where you can answer some basic questions and then submit that Google form to Tasha. Tasha will then draft the letter and send it back to you as soon as possible. The reason we streamlined it in that regard is because Tasha kept getting requests for these concession letters, and agents would give her like 2 or 3 pieces of information. So then she'd have to go back, ask some questions, and then she'd get like only half those responses back. And it was just this back and forth and back and forth. And Tasha's only concern with that was she was like, man, they're just waiting that much longer to get the letter, and I know they want it. So we streamlined it so that you guys can fill out every question she could possibly need the answer to. And then she's got all the info she needs to draft that letter to you. And then she can get it back as quickly as possible. Below that is the do not call list. I know you know about that at this point in the game. Obviously very important because we want to make sure you are not falling subject to any thousands and fines or court time. Neither really sound that fun to me at the end of the day. So let's make sure we're not calling the wrong people. If you need to update and make sure that you can still access the do not call list, I'm not sure if that's something you lost access to at all in your transition to KWB. If it is, you can click right on that and it'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to resubscribe basically. But now that we've talked about those 3 things at the top there, because again, I just think it's easier to get to it here. We can click on the Office Resources tab officially to look at the rest of what's in there. It's just a couple other items. And again, that password is going to be exactly what we discussed. It's capital B, lowercase AMC 350. Again, just no exclamation point on that one. And then when we are inside of this wonderful tab, I do like to point out a couple things for you. So obviously, I know you are North and South Carolina licensed, and that's fantastic. I'm going to focus on the left-hand side for North Carolina. The right-hand side in red is going to have the exact same content for South Carolina, but no need to be redundant and show you both today. So I'm just going to show you one and know that everything else for South Carolina similar to that is on the right-hand side. So we'll click on the Get Forms button here under General Forms. This is a Google Drive folder that Sabre actually devised herself. It's basically just home to a ton of different contracts, ton of different documents, disclosures, things like that that Sabre felt she was asked for regularly. And again, it was just that factor of that's just an extra kind of pause in the process. You have to go to somebody, wait for them to send it to you. She was like, no, 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 no. I don't want to slow them down. I want it to be available to them anytime they need it. So this Google Drive folder has tons of that information. Again, as a already seasoned agent, I know you're going to know this. You can find the majority of your contracts and forms in zip forms or in DocuSign.loop, whichever one. The majority of what you're looking for state contracts and forms will always be in those two resources. These are more of our Ballantine firm specific forms. So you'll find in here we have our W-9. So any referrals that you're doing when you need that W-9, you can find it right here in this folder. When it comes to disclosures about partnerships, we've got some partnerships with Heritage Title, for example. You'll find that we've got some of those disclosures included here. We do also have, this one's a fun one, but again, you're not brand new to real estate, so you probably won't need this one as much. But this one's cute. I love it. It's from Walk In to Walk Through. It tells you all the things you have to do in a transaction to make sure you're ready to go. And then we also include, as we go a little bit further down, just some random ones I point out. There will be septic and sewer. That is one I always mention because Sabre does love to have this information. So septic and sewer is right here in this particular folder, but tons of great information. We've got referral agreements in the folder as well. So hopefully this will give you everything you need that is not already in your DocuSign or not already in Matrix. So or in zip forms, I guess I should say. So this should have everything else specific to KW Ballantine that you may need, including working with real estate agents and everything else under the sun. If you cannot find a particular contract and form in this Google Drive folder, I always suggest go back to your DocuSign, go back to zip forms, see if it's in there. Between the two resources, whichever one you start with, look at the other if you're missing something. You should have access to everything. If there's ever anything you cannot find, let us know. Probably am not going to be the best person to find the form, but I will ask the right people to find the form. So I'm like, yeah, so I only have actual access to like a couple things. And then in the middle section here under Office Checklist, if you were to select Get Checklist, this is a really cool Google Drive folder as well. Sabre created it, and it walks you through everything you need to do in a transaction. So whether it's this is your first sale in South Carolina on the list side, and you've never done that before, she's got a breakdown of how to go about that process. Because even if you're this far into real estate, sometimes there's a deal you just haven't really gotten to do yet. So it's not muscle memory. If that's true for you, there are these wonderful checklists available where she walks you through everything you need to do. And she gives you the timetables on it. She gives you the responsibilities to a T. It's really, really easy to stay on top of things, especially just to reduce that a little bit extra of the nerves that you may be feeling. It takes that away and you can walk through very, very easily. So then the South Carolina equivalent of these forms here, again, just on the right-hand side. As we go a little bit further, I always mentioned we do have two amazing partnerships with real estate education sources. We are partnered with the CE Shop, which offers online self-paced learning. And then we also partner with Superior. So you can also take advantage of live trainings, whether that is in person or online. Those are our two resources for real estate education. Between the two, for our partnerships, we can get you discounts to both of these. So whether it is something you take advantage of for continuing education at some point down the line, or if you have somebody in your neighborhood that's looking to get in real estate school and you just want to make their day, you can provide discounts to them as well. So these are available for you to take advantage of, available for you to share. My favorite thing to mention when it comes to sharing is there's no obligation for them to join KW Ballantine. So don't feel like, oh, I don't know if I should give it to them because then that's just kind of awkward. Nope, you can just give it to them, make their day, and that's all you have to do. And continue the conversations because you never know. Maybe they will join a KW office and they'll name you as a sponsor. That's not a bad way to start the profit share downline. But when we were talking about the CE shop, outside of those discounts, Find Classes will take you to our dual branded website. This will allow you to explore a little bit more of the education that they are offering offering. What I do also mention with this is we know that self-paced is like a hit or a miss, right? It is not usually this like muddy in between for a lot of people. It's either I loved it or I hated it. So if that's true for you and you loved it and you would love to use the CE shop, that's amazing. If you've always done live trainings and never quite stepped foot into the self-paced learning, but you're curious about it, CE Shop actually offers a free trial, which is kind of cool. They give you a full week of self-paced before you ever actually have to commit to anything or pay for anything. So you can check it out, see if you like it. If you do, great, move forward, give them your credit card info and keep going. If you hated it, it was like a dumpster fire, dump it, go on, move on with the rest of your day. You do not have to at that point then enroll for the class, and you get to walk away with no consequences to you. But they do have tons of great content on this page. As you scroll, just for an example, they always give a good outline of their packages, and then they can show you what their discount codes are offering in real time. I will say too with the CE shop that it's not one standard discount across the board. This one fluctuates, and they usually will do like 1 day flash sales as well. I think yesterday and maybe today they did a 40% off. So just something to keep in mind. Anytime they're doing a flash sale, the day that sale goes active, I post the discount code to our private Facebook group at 8 a.m. So you guys have all day to use it. Underneath though, and this is where I always feel like I look psychotic, I'll be honest, because I'm going into the most fine print I've ever seen. Hot topics in the tiny, tiniest print. It used to be up top, so now I do look crazy, but they like to move things on me when I'm not paying attention. So it's hot topics. If you click on that section, I like to point this out because, again, I'm not quite sure for you and your business how you prefer to market. If social media is a part of that in any capacity, I am not the marketing expert, so you'll want to talk to Jules and Leah, but I do know two important things. When it comes to social media marketing, the two important things I know, one, you should be posting regularly. All the time. You need to make sure you're staying in front of people. I know that's important because it keeps your page active. It helps to direct traffic. It keeps your information in front of people regularly. The other piece of this is it's important to change up what you're sharing because it helps to direct new traffic. It helps to keep it in front of people. Because if you keep posting the same, eventually Facebook will be like, yeah, nobody cares. And they will just take it out and they will not show it to as many people. We don't want that to happen to you guys. So if you are looking for easy buttons, because like, let's be honest, it is a little tricky sometimes to wake up, roll out of bed, and figure out what to post in a day. And if you don't love social media, it's like extra challenging to want to do that. So if you are wondering what you can share, I love showing you guys this easy button route. Hot Topics not only has blogs, ebooks, podcasts, and videos for you as the real estate agent to appreciate, which may be more informative, some of them lighthearted, but you can literally share them, copy and paste that link and just drop it on a Facebook post and call that your post for the day. You just help to educate the world around you. So if you are looking for that easy button, if you're looking for something to kind of change what you've been doing on social media, this can be that tool that you're looking for. It's free to you, so you are welcome to utilize it. And again, whether it's for you or for others, take advantage and just know that it's out here. They have some great stuff. I always make the comment every Halloween, they do some like really funny ones. And like one of them's like how to sell a haunted house. So it's just cute. Like they do different stuff that's like silly. You could just post it to be silly, you know? There's one that they also did. It's like DIY, did I do this? So it's all about like do it yourself fails, which I love. So there's tons of great stuff on here to make you laugh and to share with everybody else. That's really all I usually share when we're looking at this particular page, but I always like to make sure you know that that hot topic section exists. Coming back to our office resources tab, there's access to the floor plan. You're probably not going to need to refer to that, but it's there if you're interested. And then underneath is numbers to know. I point this out because I know that these are numbers that are important and ones you're not going to be asked to use every single day to the point of memorizing them. But for example, you can see our federal tax ID is here. So again, when referrals come into the picture, we want to make sure you guys have that number handy. So that will be in there. We have our market center number included here in case that ever gets lost. We have our Wi-Fi information here. I always think that's comical though, because I'm like, well, if I'm at the office, how am I going to get that to that page to get my Wi-Fi? I'm like, so chicken before the egg, right? Like I'm assuming I'm supposed to look at this on another computer before. So anyways, there is Wi-Fi info in case you ever find yourself here. Um, our MLS Canopy ID, we've got our firm license numbers. So there's tons of great info shared here. And just know that they are always at the bottom of the office resources page. I know though that that can be hard to keep track of with how infrequently you usually are asked for those numbers. So if that ever happens to you and you cannot remember where to locate it or just are looking for one specific, shoot me an email. I'll take care of it. Mhm. It's CE Shop. So if you hit find classes and then just go all the way to the bottom. I'll show you one other cool thing if you like the idea of like the social media easy button. I'll show you one other really neat feature. Office calendar, we know that if you click on that, it drags you where you want to go. Tech resources, we've now talked about just about everything here. It's just all organized into one category, so it's easier for you to flip through if you're looking for tech specific resources. And then under the more tab, couple talking points more than anything. No, we have our ALC meeting minutes here. So if you miss one of those bigger meetings where our Agent Leadership Council gets together and makes decisions on behalf of Ballantine and what it's going to look like, and you are curious, like, okay, well, is there anything I should know? Did I miss anything important? You can refer to the ALC meeting minutes. It's a Google Drive folder. Lynn documents and takes minutes every single meeting, and then she throws them into the Google Drive so they are public knowledge at that point, and you can review them anytime you'd like. The prayer request form is going to be more of a talking point than anything, and that's just to really emphasize how seriously we consider you guys part of the family as soon as you walk through the door. So if there's ever anything going on in your world, whether it's you, a loved one, anything at all, just let us know. Because if you, as long as you feel comfortable telling us, we would love to know that so that we can support you as much as we can, whether that is giving you a hug in the hallway, talking to Lynn and seeing if there is any local KW Cares funds that can go towards what's going on. We are happy to do anything and more, even just open it up to pray for you and offer more power for prayer from announcing it to the whole market center, whatever that looks like. We're here for you. We do think that you are our family and we would love to treat you exactly that way. So underneath that, KW perks. If you do not have insurance, because that's the world we live in independent contracting, KW Perks allows you to shop Marketplace. And Keller Williams, I think they partnered, initially they partnered with Capstone Finance, was it Capstone? Yeah, I think so. And then afterwards, now they're partnered, I think, with Kaplan, but they are allowing you to search the insurance marketplace, plug in a little bit of your information, find all the different plans that could be available to you and your family. So if that is something you have been looking for, check that out because people are saving over 10% on average. If it's not something that you've been looking for, but maybe it's like, hey, I mean, it's worth at least investigating and seeing if there's something better out there than what I already have. Absolutely take a peek. You cannot hurt to see what else is available. Scheduling conference rooms we talked about. KWB firm exclusive listings I've mentioned because with the firm exclusive listings, when agents in our office love to do this, they will take a listing and they want to only work with another KW agent, at least just for an interim. Like, hey, if it gets snatched up right away, awesome. If not, I'll open it up and I'll put it on MLS. Depending on whether or not that was something at your previous firm, we do firm exclusive here at KW Ballantine on occasion. It's not everybody that will choose to go that route. But when they are in that firm exclusive period, obviously they are not on MLS. So you're not going to be able to find that property. So what I always mention as an example, of course, is if you are searching for your buyer and absolutely nothing in MLS is matching their criteria because it's like, you're just not getting all those amenities for that price point. Sorry. So if that is the case for any of your buyers, I always tell you guys, check the firm exclusive listings. It really can't hurt. I can't promise there's going to be something on there that's going to meet the bill, but you can always check it out because anytime somebody is saying, yes, I want this listing to go firm exclusive, they submit paperwork to Sabra, our broker in charge. She immediately takes all that information, updates it on that live spreadsheet so that you guys can then review the live spreadsheet, see anything that's in that category for the time being, and then call up that listing agent right away and say, hey, man, this sounds like it would be a great property for my buyers. Is there any way that I could schedule a showing with you and just kind of work through that? So very, very helpful additional tool, we'll call it, where you can find some extra properties as part of that. And same thing goes to you. If you ever take a listing and you'd like to do firm exclusive, know that it will be on that spreadsheet there. That is a great question. I would probably personally, I would consult some of the other agents. I know that somebody I talked to yesterday, I think he was doing it for 30 days. I think he was going to do like a whole month of firm exclusive or at least a few weeks in that time, and then switch it over to being MLS if he didn't get any real takers on the time. But talk to actually ask Richard. Now that you got Richard as a connection, he'd be a great person to ask. But know that that's a tool. And then I always say too, just with the development of KW Command, I believe that Command is supposed to be able to now, not now, shortly in near future, hopefully they are going to be able to feature and integrate the firm exclusive section inside of Command so that you won't have this extra sheet to check. I don't think that that is officially part of what they offer. So as of yet, I would refer to this. And then eventually this will become obsolete. We can just refer to Command, which would be really helpful because it'll all be in one spot. Strategic vendor partners, just beneath that, this is actually going to be a Google Sheet tracking and documenting all of the vendor partners in our program. So if you are terrible with Facebook, you absolutely can't stand it. I understand social media. I think I fail my generation because I don't really care for it. But when it comes to that Facebook group, if you just forgot to join the Facebook group with the vendors on it, you again just really use Facebook, that's okay. This Google Sheet is going to document every single vendor that's in our program. It's going to tell you who our individual contact is, what their company is, their specific contact information. We talk about the services that they offer, as well as any websites associated with their business. And it's all organized by their industry. So it makes it really, really easy for you to go through here and pull multiple quotes. So again, if there's something you've not yet worked with, hey, like thankfully, I have not had to have any crawl space technician out yet. Let me make sure that I'm contacting somebody good though. You can come down here and you can see we've got Crawl Space Medic and Falcon Crawl Space. You can contact both of their representatives and figure out making quotes. But this is a great way for you to get connected again with vetted vendors that you can trust. I do also mention, you'll notice that for garage doors, that is one that we've not had for a bit. So if there's ever anybody that you love or any of these categories you see fewer than 4 people in, let us know. Because it's not that we hate garage door companies, it's actually that I guess they just hate us. I think no. When it comes to garage door companies, though, obviously if there is something that stood out in your world or anything similar, actually we are switching our vendor program overseer for 2025. It used to be connecting them in an email with Angela Bueno, who oversaw this program. Next year, it will be Kyrie Smith, but he will basically swoop in. All you have to do is connect the vendor and Kyrie on an email. And Kyrie probably will put business cards at the front desk, just like Angela had. But connect the two of them on an email. Kyrie will then send him for needs to review. He'll offer to do a tour with him, explaining what the program entails. So that way, it's not your responsibility to do all the side of things. But Kyrie can relate value additions to their business just by partnering with someone like us because we can talk to right away. They pay to be part of the program. So have Kyrie do all the heavy lifting. If there's ever anybody that screams out at you, just connect them via email and he'll make sure that they get all the information they need. If they'd like to be part of the program, I'm right then and there. We have a preferred attorney. So that's why it's only just the one attorney. It's not because you're not allowed to use anybody else. We're welcome to use whoever you like. We have a special partnership with them there. They've actually, it's funny, they have been renting, I believe, with their own space a month for goodness, years. I think they started out with us when we were downstairs at the old office. They were then upstairs. So they've been with us, I think, for the whole facility here too. I'm like, man, really like it. So no, yes. Is that same thing for lenders. You'll notice for under lenders, there will be multiple actual lender partners or mortgage brokers, but they're all Carolina Gold because they're a preferred partnership with them. But everybody else is a little bit different. We can kind of add a little bit more to that, give you guys some more options. Good, you know and trust. When it comes to just the lender and when it comes to the attorney, those are a little bit more finicky getting in the program. Sorry. Back to the more tab though, we talked about that next piece, similar to the hot topics. I really want to point this out that you like that section. Right here towards the bottom, they publish every single month. They literally have a calendar and they have a post suggestion for every single day of the week. Yeah, so I tell you, an agent, so I will there all maybe one at a time. I think first of all, it is quite literally copy and paste this content and drop it on your page good, or if it's like here's a general ID now, you go and run with it. But either way, it's at least setting you up a little bit better than just this blank. I don't know. So they're going to outline every single month. A whole overview of what you can do every single day of the month. So it makes it one again, you don't have to try, turn those gears too early in the morning. You also, if like right now, like great, I could pick up holidays, but like a what to that, you know. So it can just be another help you to that feed a little bit. And then the last thing is discount codes for real estate education. Obviously, I know we talked about the CE shop, but if I click on that, this will be the easiest way. So again, just less digging for you. Click on that. It will take you right here where you can go back to the CE Shop website we looked at. Or on the right-hand side, we have 3 different code options for Superior because technically, depending on whether it's pre-licensing, post-licensing, or CE, they've got a different site link for each of them. So just make sure you're clicking on the right one based off of what you're looking for. But you can get a long-standing 30% off the Superior anytime you'd like to register. And then request access. The last piece that I always share is the I need tech help button in the top right, which I know we actually already looked at together. It allows you just to make an appointment with those. Again, it's a 30-minute free appointment, and you guys can talk with them as you'd like about whatever you'd like, and it's a wonderful opportunity to get questions answered, to get some guidance, and eventually, if the conversation turns to leveraging to them, they're happy to have that conversation with you as well. And you can specify if this is in person or face, or if it needs to be done through Zoom, and then let them know everything you want to talk about so they can help prepare and you guys hit the ground running as soon as you get in the room together. So that in short, I know, well, not really that short, was all of KWB resources and where you can find tons of those tools. And even still, we didn't look at quite everything, but we got pretty much there. But I like to make sure that you guys see and know that all those tools exist because I think that KWB resources tends to be a lot more than meets the eye at first glance. So I want to make sure you know exactly where to find those tools in case you ever need them moving forward. Ideally, hopefully, you'll just be able to here. It's a case that you know while you're away, you can find stuff. And then the only other thing I would ever really do as part of definitely, I would take like 5 extra minutes. You guys are really neat picture of how you can do an email blast to basically it's minimal effort on your part, maximum result application. Because I've already take more of your time because I also know you're traveling. You go home. I don't have time to go over that with you. Is I have a pre-recorded version of it. Send it to you in an email, and that way you can review it. And I'll send it to your KW email this time. And that way you can review it. So you can, and you can have that recording back to you. So when you first go to do an email blast, you need to go back to it, make sure you're doing everything right. The whole process. I always you guys is we found out like probably like a year ago now. We were like, man, we can like a basic training that we offer, like nobody was talking about it. And so I was like, oh, we talked about it. So it's separate site that we already spent all this time on. So I always am like, oh, like 5 minutes to show you something completely different. So I will send it to you in that information because it's a site that you might not have otherwise have known about. So this afternoon, and you'll have whenever you need it. But before we part ways, is there any questions you might have? And it's okay if the answer's not pressured, but mm-hmm. Go that far in. And that's okay. And that's what the process is going to be. It's going to be the first time you go through all of that together. The command kind of a little bit better. This far down the rabbit hole. And it's like, well, my calendar is book my minute. Rabbit hole just yet. Okay, well, that makes me feel good. That means I didn't like completely lose you, which is always a win. So thank you. I really, really appreciate you squeezing this in today and being with me for a second time this week. It means that we're on our road to becoming really good friends. I can feel it. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, I know again you are traveling here shortly, so I appreciate you giving me some of your extra time this morning. And I will promise to take up too much.